So in our last class, if you recollect that what we did is that we tried to, we finished our, we finished our basic understanding of what signals and systems is, correct? Okay. So in this class, what we're talking about, I told you that we're talking about singularity functions. Okay. Now, what is singularity functions? Okay. So first of all, you have to understand what is singularity functions. So let us try to understand the singularity functions first. As you can see that there should be, we should be having a compact notation. Okay, we should be having a compact notation for signals which are either discontinuous or has discontinuous derivatives. Okay, so let's talk about this particular signal. As you can see that we would like to express this particular signal or this particular function with some notational expression, so that we can qualify them further by saying that that this is valid for certain interval of time and so forth. Okay, understood what I'm saying? Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you please record the lecture and send us afterwards?
Okay, then I'm recording. Okay, I think it's okay with everybody. Then I'm recording the meeting. Okay. Okay, let's start.
Yes.
Okay, I'm starting to record the meeting. Just wait till it start recording. Yes, should be recording now. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to the class. So what we were saying that we should be having a compact notation for signals which are either discontinuous or has discontinuous derivatives. So as you can see from this figure that you have been shown in the slide, that we would like to have some notational expression by which we can qualify this particular signal, that by saying that this is valid for this particular time and so forth. Okay, so how do we do so? We do so with the use of our singularity functions. Okay, with the use of our singularity functions. Now when we're talking about singularity functions, okay, what is the definition? Singularity functions are called so because they are discontinuous or has discontinuous derivatives in classical sense of mathematics. Thus they are singular at that particular point. Okay, so what do you mean by that? We'll be seeing as we progress in the class that by singularity functions we'll be trying to define signals which are discontinuous, like the signal that is being shown in our screen. Okay, so while talking functions, there are basically three types of singularity functions that we deal in our circuit theory, in our electrical engineering. Okay, so what we're doing is that we'll be going through them one by one. So the number one singularity function that we'll be dealing with is our unit step function. As you can see on the left hand side, we have a unit step signal, and how it is defined? It is defined ut equal to 1. Okay, ut equal to 1 for t greater than 0. Okay, ut equal to 1 for t greater than 0 and equal to 0 for t less than 0. At t equal to 0, basically it does not matter how we take it. Okay, so what we say that this particular signal step because of this step function, because of its nature. Okay, so as you can see from this particular expression that this unit step is 0 whenever the argument within the parenthesis is negative, and is unity when the argument within the parenthesis is greater than 0. Okay, I'm again repeating that this unit step function is 0 whenever the argument, this argument within the parenthesis, is negative, and is unity whenever the argument within the parenthesis is greater than 0. Okay, a simple analogy of this one can be thought of as a suppose we have a battery, we have an electrical network, and we have a switch. Okay, so before the switch was closed, our system would be having something like this, but whenever the switch is open, at the time of application of the switch, we will be getting a step signal into our circuit. Okay, so that is the analogy that we can draw for our unit step function. Okay, now how do we represent this unit step function then? As you can see, we have a particular figure 1. So how we are representing this particular unit step function? We are representing it as 4ut. Okay, why it is so? As you know that for t less than 0 it is 0, where for t greater than 0 it is having the value of 4. So it is 4ut. Similarly, if we try to explain this one, see, this particular signal is time delayed by how much? Suppose 2 seconds. Okay, so let this cases be seconds. Okay, I have not written that, but I think you will be able to understand. Let us for our inference, let it be in seconds. This time in be in seconds. Okay, so what we can see, what will be the expression for this particular signal then? So it should be, see, it is 1, no? So it is u t minus 2. Okay, so it is u t minus 2. Now again the question comes, then why it is minus 2, why it is t minus 2? See, as long as the argument t minus 2 is positive, t minus 2 is positive, we can say that this should be equal to, that this is equal to 1. If t is less than 2, then the argument turns out to be negative, hence the value is 0. Okay, understood? Any questions till now? Okay, so let us try to solve the third one. Please tell me, anyone, what should be this one? What is the value, what is the expression for this one then?
u of t plus 2.
Not t plus 2, it should be u t minus 2 minus t. Okay, okay, it is
Yes, sir.
u 2 minus t.
Minus
Why
t.
again? Okay, it is the same expression. See, as long as t is less than 2, okay, please
Yes, sir.
please mute yourself, please mute yourself. Okay, so as you can see that as the argument, as it is as this t is less than 2, then 2 minus t would be always a positive number. Okay, so its value will always be 1. Okay, so that's why the expression is u 2 minus t. Okay, next one, see, it is minus 4. Yeah, yes,
Nothing, sir.
okay, so the next one is minus 4 u 2 minus t. I think you can understand why is this negative sign, because of this value minus 4. Okay, here minus 4, that's why it is minus 4 u 2 minus t. Okay, now tell me this one, what should be the value of this one?
u t minus u t
You said
minus
u of t minus 2, t minus 3.
Again, one by one, just raise your hand and one by one.
U t minus 2, a bracket closes, minus u of t minus 3.
Minus,
U t minus 3.
okay, correct. Okay, so as you can see, it is u t minus 2 minus of u t minus 3. How it is coming? As you can see that we can break this particular signal into 2 signals. Let it be f1 be this one, that is u t minus 2, and we have u t minus 3, that is f2 is u t minus 3. So as you can see, if we subtract u t minus 3 from u t minus 1, what we get is but basically this particular signal. Okay, because these portions will be cancelling each other out. Okay, so we will be left only with this particular portion, which is our particular function given. Okay, what is the expression for this one? What is the expression for this one then? The same logic that we have done example 5.
ut plus 2 minus ut minus 2.
See, there is 4. Okay,
Sir, 4 t plus 2 minus 4 ut minus 2.
correct. It is 4u t plus 2 minus 4u t minus 2. The same logic we can apply. We're starting from here. No, this is the first expression. This should be f1 and this should be our f2. No, so the expression comes out to be 4u t plus 2 minus 4u t minus 2. So as you can see that from these particular expressions, it is very easy to understand that what we have to remember, that the argument within this one, this portion should always be greater than 0. If this is less than 0, means basically negative, then it should be then this particular expression comes out to be 0. But if this is our greater than 0, then this expression comes out to be our positive. In some books, again, if you see, in some books it is written as t equal to 1 for t greater than equal to 0. Okay, basically what happens at t equal to 0, we are least bothered. We can take it as 1 or we can leave it as it is. Okay, please remember that one. That the value at t equal to 0 for unit step function, we can generally take it to be 1 or we can leave it as it is. Okay, we does not care what is the value at t equal to 0 for unit step function. Okay, the next in line for our this particular singularity function is our unit ramp function. Okay, as you can see, the slope is basically t given by t. So the expression for unit ramp function is rt, as you can see. So rt equal to 0 for t less than 0 and rt equal to t for t greater than equal to 0. Okay, so why the name unit ramp? Because it rises unit amount for unit time. Okay, it rises unit amount for unit time, as you can see from this particular expression. Okay, somebody is trying to enter. Okay, so we can. Okay, so we have completed this one. Yes, we are talking about ramp function, no? Okay, so let's go to ramp function. So it rises unit amount for unit time, and that's why it is known as a ramp function. Okay, so with the same knowledge, that as you can see, that the argument has to be greater than equal to 0. Okay, the argument has to be greater than equal to 0. Should be given that particular value. So with that same argument, we can see the examples here. So example 1, as you can see, what should be the expression for this one? As it is time delayed by 1, so it should be r t minus 1. Okay, it should be r t minus 1. Similarly, what should be the expression for here? It should be minus of r t minus 1. Okay, it is minus of r t minus 1. Understood? The same knowledge that we have applied for our unit step function, the same thing we are applying for our unit ramp function. Okay, with this one, can you find tell me what should be the expression for this one? Can you tell me what should be the expression for this particular example? See, the slope values are given, no? The slope values are given in brackets, okay, within parentheses. What should be the expression for this one? Anybody?
4r t minus 1 minus 4r t plus 1.
Okay, you are missing something. Okay, please unmute. Please mute yourself. Okay. So you have missed just one part. Okay. Partly it is correct, but partly it, only correct, not total correct. Why? We are. Let us see. Let us break this one. So what we will be seeing is that the actual expression is 4r t plus 1 minus 8rt plus 4r t minus 1. Now, why it is coming so? Okay. So let us talk about the first one. Okay. What we have? So this is our 4r t plus 1. Okay. So that particular signal is going on. But at t equal to 0, if you see that at t equal to 0, we have to pull this down. We have to pull this particular signal down so that it has a slope of minus 4. Okay. We have to pull this particular signal down so that it has a slope of minus 4. So what we do is that at t equal to 0, we introduce a slope of minus 8rt. Okay. We introduce a slope of minus 8rt. Okay. So at t equal to 1, this resultant slope of minus 4 has to stop. Okay. This resultant slope of minus 4 has to stop and restore to a 0 slope. Okay. So at t equal to 1, this resultant slope of minus 4 has to stop and be restored to a 0 slope. To do that, we are introducing a signal 4r t minus 1 at t equal to 1. Okay. So now you can just very well imagine what it is happening. So it is happening in this way, that 4r t plus 1 minus 8r t minus 1 plus 4r t minus 1. Understood? Okay. So if you have, so I think it's very easy to understand, I think. Okay. So with these things, we'll be able to see that
then the upper part is wrong.
okay. Which one?
Yes, sir. It is written 8t. It would be 8t minus 1, I think.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let me see again. It is
8rt.
It will be minus
yes,
4rt
yes.
minus 1, not that minus 8rt.
Which one? Hello?
In the upper equation.
You have not understood then what I have said. Okay. I am again explaining. Please listen carefully. First expression is 4r t plus 1. Okay. This expression, I think this one can understand. But if this expression goes on, what we are doing is that if this expression goes on, this would be something like this. This would be running parallel. So if it is 4r t plus 1 and again 4r t minus 1, see it is t minus, it is applied at what position? At this position. Okay, at this position. But this is a continuous signal, no? We have to deduce this particular signal. We have to deduce this particular signal. So how the signal is coming? First of all, again I am explaining. So what we are going, first one is this 4r t plus 1. Okay, so it should be, so this should be the signal. But at t equal to 0, this should be having something like this. Okay, so how we can bring this particular signal to be something like this? What we are doing is that we are introducing another signal of minus 8rt. So this should be minus 8rt. The typing is wrong. Okay, this should be minus 8rt. So this should be minus 8rt. Okay, so this is minus 8rt. So now if you 4rt plus 1 minus 8rt means the signal is now moving in this direction. But if it is moving in this direction, then it should have stopped at t equal to 1, because this is what the signal demands. Okay, it should stop at t equal to 1. So how we will be stopping at t equal to 1? We are introducing another signal 4r t minus 1. Okay, 4r t minus 1. So it should, so this is going in this way. So please remember, so see, this signal is going on this way. this is going on like this. So this signal 4r t minus 1 is cancelling this portion out of the resultant of 4r t plus 1 minus 8r t. Got the point? So what we have then, 4r t plus 1, from here we are introducing minus 8r t, so the signal is coming down. But if no signal is introduced at t equal to 1, then this signal should have gone something like this. But we have to stop at t equal to 1. To stop at t equal to 1, we have to give another signal in the opposite direction. So that's why we are giving plus 4r t minus 1. So that's why the summation of these three signals should be this particular one. Understood? Okay. So this is what we are talking about. Okay. Now, if we have seen properly that when we're talking about these particular expressions, these are all causal signals. Why they are causal signals? Because at t greater than equal to 0, we are taking them to be active. But before t less than 0, but for t less than 0, the value of them is 0. Okay. So these are all causal signals. So please remember that these particular expressions are what we can see is that this RT and this UT are again related. How? See, we can write RT, this should be again small letter RT, okay? RT equal to T into UT. Think about a unit step function and you are multiplying with a T function. So the expression that we are getting is basically an RT1, okay? Now, the ramp function is not equal to the T function. How? Because see the signals. The ramp function is this starting from T0, okay? T greater than equal to 0. But the T signal, it can have negative values, but it's not the case for our ramp function, okay? So just think about if you multiply this particular signal with a unit step signal that we have seen earlier, then the resultant would be a ramp signal. Okay, so let us go through definition 1, then we're talking about definition number 2. Okay, so let us talk about definition 1. As you can see, what we have defined a function g epsilon t such that it approaches unit step as epsilon tends to 0. As epsilon tends to 0, so this should be a unit step function. Okay, so what we have written, limit of epsilon tends to 0, g epsilon t equal to ut. So what is the derivative of this one? So the derivative of this one, as you can see, g epsilon t equal to 1 by epsilon for 0 less than equal to t less than equal to epsilon, and equal to 0 for t less than 0 and for t greater than epsilon. Okay, so as epsilon tends to 0, epsilon takes on a sequence of values, okay, epsilon I, such that epsilon I greater than epsilon I plus 1, and the sequence has this property, has the following property. So this is the typical property of this particular infinity. Okay, so the limit cannot be defined in classical sense of mathematics. So how can we define the unit impulse then? The unit impulse whose representation is in by the notation delta, we can define the unit impulse delta t as the class of all sequences which obey this particular equation. Okay, so what we can write? We can write of delta t as limit of epsilon I tends to 0 integral of t1 less than 0 t2 greater than 0 for g dot epsilon I t dt. Okay, this should be equal to 1. So what we have written? We have written this particular g dot epsilon I t as our f epsilon I t. Okay, where this function f epsilon I t can be written as this particular function. As you can see that as epsilon tends to 0, this becomes we are tending towards the infinity. Okay, as epsilon tends to 0, we are tending towards the infinity. Okay, so what we can think of the delta function having additional properties as delta 0 is equal to infinity and delta t equal to 0 for t not equal to 0. Okay, delta 0 is equal to infinity and equal to 0 for t not equal to 0. Okay, so what we can say is that the area under the impulse is unity, and since the impulse is 0 for t not equal to 0, what we have is that integral of minus infinity to infinity delta t dt equal to integral of 0 negative to 0 plus delta t dt equal to 1. So what we are saying is that the entire area of the impulse is concentrated at t equal to 0. Understood? Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Okay.
স্যার সেকেন্ড পয়েন্টটা একটু রিপিট করবে?
কোন পয়েন্টটা?
এস সেকেন্ড পয়েন্ট ইন্টিগ্রেশন ইন মাইনাস ইনফিনিটি থেকে।
Okay, এই পয়েন্টটা তো। So what we are saying that this area under the impulse, okay, so what we are saying that this area, whatever area under the impulse is unity, and since the impulse is 0 for t not equal to 0, what we have is that integral of minus infinity to infinity delta t dt is equal to integral of 0 negative to 0 plus delta t dt equal to 1. মানে আমি বলছি কি আমার এরিয়াটা উইদিন দিস পার্টিকুলার যতটাই ছোট হোক না কেন আমার যে এরিয়াটা সেটা সবসময় কিন্তু কি থাকছে তার ভ্যালু হচ্ছে ইউনিটি, তার ভ্যালু হচ্ছে 1. এবার তুমি দেখো প্লিজ সি কেয়ারফুলি হোয়াট উই হ্যাভ রিটেন হিয়ার 0 নেগেটিভ and I have written here 0 positive. Okay, what do you mean by these two? In later classes when we're talking about transients in electrical circuits, I will be again explaining these things. Okay, for the time being let us see in this way. 0 negative is the condition just before the application of the switch. Okay, and 0 positive is the condition just after the application of the switch. So if we see the switch as a particular timeline, so we have 0 negative, 0, this that is t equal to 0 negative, t equal to 0, and t equal to 0 positive. So t to 0 negative is the case just before the application of the switch. T equal to 0 is the case when we have opened or closed the switch, and t equal to 0 plus is the case when just after the application of the switch. Okay, I think now it is clear. Okay, so what we are saying is that the impulse is basically the area within this particular curve which is equal to 1. Okay, and the whole area of the impulse is concentrated at t equal to 0. Okay, so what is this impulse then? As you can see from this particular previous expression that we have seen is that this delta t is nothing but is derivative of our ut. Okay, delta t is the derivative of our unit step function. Okay, so the derivative of ut is 0 everywhere except at t equal to 0. Okay, the derivative of ut is 0 everywhere except at t equal to 0. This is our unit impulse function. Okay, this is the first definition. The second definition I think much easier to understand. Okay, what is the second definition? See, simple. What we have a symmetrically situated pulse of width d and height 1 by d. So the area is equal to 1, by taking limits of this particular rectangular pulse, what we are saying, by taking limits of d tends to 0, we will be getting a pulse having 0 width but an infinitely large height. This is what we call an impulse function or a delta function. Okay, so what is the properties of a delta function then? So this is the basic property that is being utilized, that is the shifting property. As you can see, that the integral of minus infinity to infinity ft delta t dt is equal to f0. That means ft is single valued at t equal to 0 and continuous. So ft can be factored as f0. Means basically, if we have a ft as a continuous signal and which is multiplied by delta t, then the value of ft at t equal to 0 is the answer that we will be getting. Similarly, what we can do is that if ft is single valued and continuous at t equal to capital T, that then ft multiplied by delta t minus capital T, that would be giving us f capital T. Okay, so ft can be factored as shown in the above. So this is the value that we'll be getting. Okay, so again delta t equal to delta minus t, so this is an even function of time. Apart from that, what we can get is that, this is not written here, that we can find the higher order derivatives of our unit step function. Okay, we may find out a signal which is known as our unit doublet. Again, the unit doublet, if we are going for higher classes, then only it is required, not required for our, just for your understanding, you may think of that it is means the derivative of the unit step can be thought of as a unit doublet, where suppose this is our time and this is one portion, one impulse function, this is another impulse function. One along the at t equal to 0, one is going upwards, one is going downwards. So that is basically a unit doublet, means a derivative of our this delta function. Okay, a derivative of our delta function. Again, that is not required. Okay, just let us not talk about it. So what is the examples of delta function? As you can see, the magnitude is given. So if the area within that impulse is 4, so it is 4 delta t. If the area within the impulse is 3, it is 3, but it is time delayed by 2 seconds. So it is 3 delta t minus 2. Okay, so these are all in t. Okay, t in seconds. Okay, I have not written it. So far, so how many signals we have seen? Okay, so far we have seen 3 functions. No, so number 1 is our ut, next is rt and delta t. Now what we can see is that these 3 particular functions are interrelated among each other. How they are interrelated? So they are interrelated by these expressions. So delta t equal to d by dt of ut. Again, ut can be written as integral of delta t dt. Similarly, ut is basically d by dt of rt. So rt can be written as integral of ut dt. Okay, so all the 3 signals are interrelated. Please remember this one. Okay, so with this knowledge, let us talk about a particular circuit. Okay, so what we have a particular circuit. As you can see, the switch is closed at t equal to 0. Then Vc is the voltage across the capacitor. Obviously, I have not shown, but it is understandable that this is plus, this is minus. Okay, this is plus, this is minus, and the stored energy, there is no stored energy in the capacitor. Since there is no stored energy in the capacitor, therefore Vc is 0 negative, means just before the application of the switch, Vc 0 negative equal to 0, means there is no stored energy in the capacitor. Okay, so if we try to find the value of it, what we will be getting is that it equal to 8 delta t. Okay, now the question comes, why it is written, why it will be coming as it equal to 8 delta t. Okay, mathematically it can be proved very easily. Okay, can anyone prove so? Can anyone tell why IT will be equal to 8 delta t?
Sir, if we take the Laplace transform, then solving that we may get IT equal to 8 delta t.
Okay, we do not need the Laplace transform also. Okay, because what is the, when the switch is closed, what will happen? Okay, when the switch is closed,
Sir,
the four, yes,
sir, I equal to C dv dt.
okay,
Now v is like a unit step function, so when we take the derivative, so it will be 2 into 4, so it's like 8 delta t.
okay, correct, okay, correct. That is the mathematical answer that we are talking about. Okay, so as you can see, there is the voltage across the capacitor, which is 0 before the switch is on, is how much? Vc equal to 4 ut after the application of the switch, correct? So basically, what is the current expression? We know I equal to C into dVc by dt. So 2 into 4 dut by dt, which gives us 8 delta t, because delta t equal to d by dt of ut, no? So this is the expression that we have, that we know, that can be found out by mathematical analysis. But what about the physical answer or the physical analysis of this particular circuit? When we see that, what we can say is that whenever the switch is closed, then the 4 volt appears across the capacitor. Okay, this 4 volt appears across the capacitor. When this 4 volt appears across the capacitor, hence 8 coulombs of charge, no, 8 coulombs of charge is dumped on the capacitor in no time or in 0 time. Okay, 8 coulombs of charge is dumped on the capacitor in 0 time when the switch is closed. Okay, so what do you mean by that? So 8 coulombs of charge is dumped on the capacitor means that the current must be infinite. Okay, the current must be infinite, but the area under the curve of the current waveform, but the area under the curve of the current waveform, which is nothing but the charge, is 8 units. Okay, so the current is described by a delta function. Understood? So this is the mathematical or this is the analytical analysis behind it. Okay, whenever the switch is closed, 8 coulombs of charge is dumped on the capacitor in no time. Since 8 coulombs of charge is dumped in the capacitor in no time, so the current would be infinite, but the area under the curve of the current waveform, which is nothing but the charge, is 8 units. So the current is described by a delta function. Understood? Any questions? Okay, so with this we finish our this particular slide. Next in line, what we'll be talking about is our next in line, which we were talking about, is another important point, which is our Laplace transforms. Okay, I think you can all see the slide. Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So actually what I do is that I do something else before I go into Laplace transforms. I talk about the transients, but since I think that you all have not studied the Laplace transforms in your previous year classes, so it is better to start this Laplace transform, then we'll be going on to talk about the other portions, because the application of these Laplace transforms is very, very huge in our circuit theory classes. Okay, so what we go is that that as you can see that this equilibrium equations for linear systems, for equilibrium equations, what we use a linear simultaneous integral differential equations. What is the integral differential equation? I think for an RLC network, you know that IR plus L di by dt plus 1 by C integral of I dt. Okay, so that is an integral differential equation. So how can we solve those integral differential equation? We can solve them through the method of calculus, but there were very much difficulties uh, by the method of calculus. So subsequently, what happened that a paper was published in 1780 by Pierre Simon Laplace, after whom this transform has been named. Okay, and many mathematicians like Oliver Heaviside and so on, okay, they modified this particular transform to the present form, which is known as our Laplace transform. So what we do is that means this helps us, this particular Laplace transform helps us to solve these integral differential equations much quicker compared to our compared to the method of our calculus. Okay, so this is the typical figure. As you can see that first we had the integral differential equation, so we can to find this the time domain solution, we went through the classical method of solving this particular equations through our calculus. But through the Laplace transformation, how do we do that? So what we do is that we first transform the equation to our transformed equation. Here again some initial conditions if present has to be taken care of. Remember that this transformed equation is in frequency domain. Okay, this is in frequency domain. We go for some algebraic manipulation, and from this transformed equation we get the solution of the transformed variable. We get the solution of the transformed variable. Okay, so what we do is that we again go for inverse Laplace transform. Okay, we go for inverse Laplace transform to convert this frequency domain solution to a time domain one. Okay, to convert the frequency domain solution to a time domain solution. This is the particular chart. If you can remember, it's this is how things work in our Laplace transforms. Okay, so how do we represent it? So in Laplace transform we represent ft as capital Fs. Okay, so in some books this S is in capital letters, in some books it is in S. So I think in my slides you will be seeing somewhere it is capital S, somewhere it is small s. So please treat it as small s. It would be much easier for you to understand. Okay, so this particular signature means this particular sign means that ft after Laplace transformation can be converted to this frequency domain form, transformed equivalent form, and this after performing inverse Laplace transform on this one, it can be transformed back to our time domain form. Okay, so what is the expression for this Fs? So this is L, which is Laplace transform. So Laplace transform ft, the expression is integral of 0 negative to infinity ft e to the power minus st dt. Okay, where s is obviously sigma plus j omega, which s is the complex frequency that we were talking about in details in our later classes. Okay, where sigma obviously you know the real part of s and omega is the imaginary part of s. Okay, and how we are converting this ft to our fs means from fs to ft. So from ft we perform the Laplace inverse. As you can see the sign for Laplace inverse. Okay, this is the sign for Laplace inverse, and we find out the expression as 1 by 2 pi j integral of c minus j infinity to c plus j infinity fs e to the power st into ds. Okay, 1 by 2 pi j integral of c minus j infinity to c plus j infinity fs e to the power st into ds. Okay, now we will not be going into the details of how the expressions are coming. Okay, I will just giving a very basic idea. The other things can be read from the book, but those are not needed for our class. Okay, those are for mathematical analysis. We are just more concerned with the expression themselves rather than how the proof has occurred for these particular expressions. Okay, so what we have, this particular expression fs, which is equal to integral of 0 negative to infinity ft into e to the power st into dt. For this integral to exist, okay, the real part of this s has to be greater than expression that is has to be greater than sigma c. Okay, for this integral to exist, the real part of s has to be greater than sigma c. This sigma c depends on our ft. Okay, this sigma c depends on our ft, and is known as our abscissa of convergence. Okay, abscissa of convergence. So for this integral to exist, the real part of S is greater than sigma c. Okay, this sigma c is known as our abscissa of convergence. Please note that it is not required to find this value of sigma c while performing problems on Laplace transforms, because it is assumed that the value of S, or that the real part of S, is greater than the abscissa of convergence. Okay, is greater than the abscissa of convergence. I am again repeating that it is not required to find the value of sigma c for any particular while solving problems on Laplace transforms, because it is assumed that the value of S is greater than the abscissa of convergence. Okay, so what is the Laplace transformed figure then? So this is the so the figure that we're seeing now is in frequency domain. So obviously frequency domain means sigma will be in the x-axis, sigma in the x-axis, and omega is in the imaginary axis. Okay, this is the imaginary axis, and this is the our real part. So this domain is known as a S domain. Okay, also known as frequency domain, specifically talking about Laplace transform. So this is known as our S domain. So this is our sigma c, this value. So this is our sigma c, which is our abscissa of convergence. So this is our region of convergence where our solution will be present. So this is our ROC, or region of convergence. This portion, this particular value is our C1 in the expression that we have seen earlier. So this is our C1. This portion is C1 plus j up to infinity, and here C1 minus j up to infinity. So this contour is known as our Bromwich contour. Okay, so as you can see that the inverse Laplace transform of the S domain function fs can be written as a function of time t defined by the complex integral. What was the complex integral? It was ft, which is equal to Laplace inverse of fs 1 by 2 pi j integral of c1 minus j infinity to c1 plus j infinity fs e to the power st into ds. Okay, so this is what a simple Laplace transform is. Now if you see this expression properly, then few things can be talked about. Number one, obviously the real part of S is greater than sigma c. This is assumed. There's another part, if you see carefully, that the integral, okay, the Laplace transform integral is taken to start from 0 negative. Okay, can anybody say why it is taken to start from 0 negative? Because in many books you will be finding as minus infinity to infinity. Okay, but I have written here to start from 0 negative. Why?
Sir, initial conditions গুলো করছে তাই।
Initial conditions গুলো ঠিক কনসিডার করছে তা নয়।
স্যার মাইনাস ইনফিনিটি থেকে মাইনাস 0 মাইনাস অবধি তো ওটা স্টেডি স্টেটেই থাকবে, কোনো চেঞ্জ হয় না অ্যাকচুয়ালি।
ওকে, যেটা ঠিক আছে, পার্টলি কারেক্ট আনসার দিয়েছি সবাই। আমি আনসারটা বলে দিই, why we have taken from 0 negative to infinity, because that what I had told, what was 0 negative? It was just before the application of the switch, correct? So at whenever the switch is being applied, so at t equal to 0, what can happen? Some impulse can come into the system. Okay, some amount of impulse can come into the system. So to take care of the impulses, which are present, which may be present at the origin of ft, the Laplace transform integral is taken to start from 0 negative. Okay, so abhi abar bolchi, it is the Laplace transform integral is taken to start from 0 negative to take care of any impulses at the origin, if any, in our ft signal. Okay, so I think you can all now understand, get a brief idea of what we are talking about. Okay, so again, these are all causal time functions. Okay, as you can see that this ft is again a causal time function. that is, it is limited to ft equal to 0 for t less than 0. Okay, so it is a causal time function. Okay, so let us find out the Laplace transform of some important time functions. Number 1. Okay, as you can see, what we have, we are trying to find out the Laplace transform of our delta function. So number 1 expression is very simple. Number 1 definition, as you can see, that if f2 equal to delta t, so fs can be written as integral of 0 negative to infinity delta t into e to the power st dt, which is equal to 1. There is an alternative explanation also. What is the alternative explanation? As you can see, let us determine the Laplace transform of a rectangular pulse. Okay, first of all, we are determining the rectangular Laplace transform of a rectangular pulse, as you can see in the figure given alongside. Okay, this is the rectangular pulse pt. Okay, so which has a this is the expression for this particular pulse. Then for a rectangular pulse p1t of duration capital T and height 1 by t, the strength is unity. Okay, so if in general we take a rectangular pulse of duration capital T and height 1 by t, then the strength of that particular pulse would be unity. Then the transformation of that particular pulse will be just this particular expression only. That expression of capital T would be coming into place. So Laplace transform of P1t, which is the more general case, would be 1 minus e to the power minus st by st. Okay, so what is how to determine the Laplace transform of the unit impulse then? As you know, the delta t equal to 0 for t greater than 0 and equal to 0 for t less than 0, and integral of t equal to minus infinity to infinity delta t equal to 1. So how can determine the Laplace transform then? So as you can see, the Laplace transform of this function may be determined conveniently by defining the unit impulse function as the limit of a rectangular pulse p1t of unit strength as the pulse duration capital T tends to 0. So as you can see from the right hand side of the figure, that as capital T tends to 0, okay, so the height increases to infinity, the height of this function increases to infinity, but the area within that particular curve is always the value is 1. Okay, so Laplace transform of this limit of t tends to infinity p1t, the expression is this one, as we have got. Okay, this one, this particular expression. So this is being put here. We are using L'Hospital's rule and we'll be solving it to find the value to be 1. Okay, this is the expression. These are the two expressions. Now obviously the question comes, then how to then what would be the definition if it is asked in the semester? Then definition, right? Obviously the definition that you should be writing is this portions. Okay, the second or the alternative definition, alternative explanation should be your answer. Okay, it should be your answer. Okay, next, suppose next is one is our then impulse function gone. Okay, next is our unit step function. So what is the expression for unit step function then? Anybody? Why? So if ft equal to ut, then what is fs? So fs will be equal to integral of 0 negative to infinity ut into e to the power minus st into dt. So what is the expression that we are getting? Anybody? What is the expression that we are getting? Hello? Anybody? What is the expression that we are getting? Hello?
Sir, 1 by S.
1 by S, correct. Okay. So the answer that we are getting is 1 by S. Okay. It's very simple expression as you can get. As you can see that the value that we are getting is 1 by S. Similarly, if we are talking about e to the power minus at into ut, so the expression we are getting is 1 by S plus a. And for e to the power, and this for e to the power minus zt, what we can write is that 1 by S plus z, because z being complex. Okay, because z being complex. Okay. So what is the expression for 4 and 5? Anybody? What is the expression for 4 and 5?
Sir, for 4, I think 1 by S square plus omega naught square.
1 by S square. No.
1 by S square plus omega naught square. And for sine omega naught by S square plus omega naught square.
Okay. For the second one is correct. The first one is wrong. One is not. 1 by S square plus omega naught square. It is S by.
S by.
Okay. It is S by S square plus omega naught square. Okay. So those of you who cannot solve it, try to solve it in this way. Okay. Cos omega naught t into ut. Okay. So what we can write cos omega naught t as, we can write cos omega naught t as our half into e to the power j omega naught t ut plus e to the power minus j omega naught t ut. Okay. So if we apply the Laplace transforms to this one, what will we get? So half into 1 by S minus j omega 0 plus 1 by S plus j omega 0. Understood? Okay. So if we solve this one, then the expression that we are getting is something like this, no? Okay. S by S square plus omega naught square. The same thing can be applied for our sine omega naught t ut also. So here the expression is something like this. Okay. So if we solve it, then we will be getting as omega by omega naught by S square plus omega naught square. Okay. So what are the things can we infer from this particular sequence? Number one, what we can infer is that if we have any constant, suppose k, okay, if we are finding the value of the constant, then the means if you're finding the Laplace transform of a particular constant, then the Laplace transform of that particular constant would be k by S. Why? Because k basically means what? K into ut. Correct? So what do you mean by ut? We mean ut means 1. So we can write ut, we may not write ut. Okay. So Laplace transform of k basically means Laplace transform of k into ut. Okay. So the expression comes out to be k by S. The Laplace transform of k, which is a constant, comes out to be k by S. Okay. So this is what we are talking about. Means we can write ut, we can not write ut, but it should be valid, but it is valid only for t greater or equal to 0. Okay. So what are the properties of Laplace transforms then? I'll be dealing with only 5 properties today. Then in the next class, we are dealing with the other properties. Okay. So the number one property that is our linearity property. What is linearity property? As you can see. So if f1t gives us f1s and f2t gives us f2s, then c1 f1t plus c2 f2t will be giving us c1 f1s plus c2 f2s. Okay. That's the first one. Second one, what we have? We have our differentiation. So as you can see, Laplace transform of df by dt equal to integral of 0 negative to infinity df by dt e to the power st into dt. By solving it, we will be getting as sfs minus f0 negative. Now, in which element of circuit theory we are applying this expression? Anybody? In which element of circuit theory we are applying this particular expression?
So for capacitor.
Not for capacitor. Basically, we are talking about our inductance. No, inductors. So the inductors are referred to by this particular expression. Okay. L. So what we write? We write as SLS. Okay. Okay. SL minus our sum minus L0 negative. Okay, for this is the for this particular expression is being utilized for our inductor transformed equivalent circuit. Okay, inductor or transformed equivalent of an inductor circuit. Okay, I mean how or when we transform an inductor circuit from time domain to frequency domain, then this is the particular property of Laplace transform that is being utilized. Okay, so as you can see that it is what is the expression SFS minus F0 negative. Okay, so if the time, if this t would have been greater than equal to 0 plus, then this would have been SFS minus F0 plus. Okay, this would then the expression would have been SFS minus F0 plus. Okay, now why we are trying to differentiate between 0 minus and 0 plus, let us try to understand that one first. So think about F2 equal to ut. Okay, F2 equal to ut. So what is the Laplace transform of this Ft? So of this ut, the Laplace transform of this ut is 1 by s, correct? Now think about the derivative of this f of this ut, okay, for t greater than equal to 0 negative. Okay, what is the expression that will be coming out? The expression that will, what is the Laplace transform expression that will be coming out? The Laplace transform expression will be equal to 1 for for first derivative of the of our unit step function for t greater than equal to 0 negative. What about the first order derivative of the unit step function for t greater than equal to 0 plus? What would be the Laplace transform value? The value would be 0. Okay, the value would be 0. So here lies the very subtle use of our t equal to 0 negative and t equal to 0 positive. I hope you have understood. Okay, so next in differentiation, yes.
Sir, can you please repeat this?
Yes, sir. Connection was lost. Can you please repeat?
Okay. So what we are differentiating between, why we are differentiating between 0 negative and 0 positive. Okay, suppose think about Ft equal to ut. Okay, so what we have, if we find out the Laplace transform of this Ft now, which is nothing but ut, which is then the expression of the Laplace transformed equation comes out to be 1 by s, correct? Now what we have taken Ft equal to ut. Okay, remember that. Now we are taking the first derivative of Ft for t greater than equal to 0 negative. Okay, for t greater than equal to 0 negative. So what is the Laplace transform of f prime t for t greater than equal to 0 negative? The value is basically 1. Okay, and what is Laplace transform of f prime t for t greater than equal to 0 plus? Okay, what is the Laplace transform of f prime t for t greater than equal to 0 plus? For that case, the value would be 0. Okay, so here lies the difference between differentiating between 0 negative and 0 plus. Understood? Okay, so please, whenever the Laplace transform or any transform equivalent circuit problem comes, which we will be solving later in the classes, please read the question properly, that what is being asked, that what is the question. If it is talking about the switching, means if it is talking about t equal to 0 plus, or it is talking about t equal to 0 minus, because for both the cases the answer may be different. Okay, the answer may be different. Okay, so again, as you can see from the second point of 2b, Laplace transform of d2f by dt square, it is nothing but SFS minus SF0 negative minus f prime 0 negative. Okay, Okay. Then what we have? Third one what we have? Multiplication by t. So what is the expression? So as you can see, it is being solved here. Very simple solution. As you can see, the expression is integral of 0 negative to infinity tft e to the power minus st dt equal to minus of d by ds of fs. Okay, minus of d by ds of fs. Okay, with this, write down what would be the expression for t into ut. Tell me, what would be the expression for t into ut? Okay, with this knowledge. So what we know, ut equal to how much? 1 by s. Then
So 1 by s squared.
1 by s square, correct? Now, what is t into ut? We have studied just a few minutes back only. What is t into ut?
Ramp function, sir.
Ramp function, correct. So what is the Laplace transform of a ramp function? It is 1 by s square. Understood? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the Laplace transform, so the 3 is complete. Delta function, the value comes out to be 1. For unit step, it comes out to be 1 by s. And for ramp function, the Laplace transform for ramp function comes out to be 1 by s square. Okay. Okay. With this line only, in this line only, what would be, tell me what would be the Laplace transform of the expression, suppose t square, okay, write it down, t square into e to the power minus at into ut. Okay, the answer is t square. The question is t square into e to the power minus at into ut. What is the Laplace transform of this particular expression? Anybody?
Minus 2 by s plus a whole cube.
Not minus 2, it is coming out to be 2 by s plus a whole cube. Okay. Okay, the answer is 2 by s plus a whole cube. Okay, just check it. Okay, I may be wrong also. That's not an issue. Okay, it may be wrong also. Okay, but the answer should be 2 by s plus a whole cube. Just check it once again. Understood? So how the expressions are, how the property of multiplication by t is coming into play, I think you all can understand it by now. Okay. The next in line is our integration property. Very important. Okay, integration property. As you know, as you can see from the figure, what we have, integration of the signal ft, integration of ft gives us integration of 0 negative to t ft dt plus f0. What is f0? This is the initial value of the integral. Okay, this is the initial value of the integral. So what we have taken this expression to be equal to gt. So let integral of 0 negative to t ft dt equal to gt. So g 0 negative obviously 0, understandable, because the integration or the integral would be between the same limits, no, from 0 negative to 0 negative. So basically this should be coming out to be 0. Okay. So and what we have taken is that the derivative of this one. So the derivative of g prime t would be obviously our ft. Okay. So the g prime t is equal to our ft. So we have to find out the Laplace transforms of this one. So the expression comes out to be, so this is particular is nothing but our gt. So this is written here. As you can see, integral of 0 negative to infinity gt e to the power st dt. What is our this expression? Okay, this expression, if we solve, then we get the expression as 1 by s into fs. Okay, I have not I have skipped here one step. I think you can all understand that. You try to solve this one. Okay, how will we be solving it? We will be solving it by using integration by parts. Okay, you solve it by the use of integration by parts. Okay, calculus method, you know all that. Okay, so you solve this one, and solving it, you will be getting the expression as 1 by s into fs. Please remember that this is for an indefinite, this is for a definite integral. Okay, this is for a definite integral, the Laplace transform would be coming out to be 1 by s into fs. So if it is an indefinite integral, then the Laplace transform should have come fs by s plus f0 by s. Okay, please remember, again I am repeating, for a definite integral the Laplace transform should be fs by s, whereas for an indefinite integral the Laplace transform is fs by s plus f0 negative, means f0 by s. Okay, f0 by s. Okay, for an indefinite integral. Okay, so for which
স্যার একবার রিপিট করবেন?
হ্যাঁ লাস্ট একটা আমি বলছি যে for definite integral the expression for Laplace transform would be fs by s. আর যদি তোমার indefinite integral হয়, if it is an indefinite integral, then it would be fs by s plus the initial value f0 by s. Okay, fs by s plus f0 by s for an indefinite integral. Okay, so what is the circuit element for which this particular expression, for which this particular property of Laplace transform is used? Anybody? Circuit theory কোন এলিমেন্টের জন্য এই property of Laplace transform আমি ইউজ করে থাকি? It is for the capacitor transformed equivalent circuit. Okay, it is for the transformed equivalent circuit of a capacitor. Okay, ইন্ডাক্টরের জন্য কোনটা ইউজ করছি? ইন্ডাক্টরের জন্য ইউজ করছি আগেরটা, আমার ডিফারেন্সিয়েশন প্রপার্টিটা। ক্যাপাসিটরের জন্য আমি ইউজ করছি হচ্ছে আমার এই প্রপার্টিটা। ওকে, আমার ইন্টিগ্রেশন প্রপার্টিটা। ওকে, ফিফথ প্রপার্টি কি? ফিফথ প্রপার্টি, as you can see, it is written as shift in frequency domain. Shift in frequency domain কিভাবে মনে রাখবে? Shift in frequency domain is nothing but multiplication by an exponential function in the time domain. Okay, multiplication by an exponential function in the time domain. Okay, shift in frequency domain is multiplication by an exponential function in the time domain. As you can see, দেখো what is happening. So this is the multiplication by an exponential function in the time domain. So expressionটা কি হয়ে যাবে? f s plus z হয়ে যাবে। Okay, s plus z হয়ে যাবে। So this is nothing but what we have. So this z, let this z be complex for more general cases. Okay, let this z be complex for more general cases. Okay, এটা এক্সাম্পল আমরা কিছু আমরা নিজেরাই করে নিতে পারি। আমরা জানি ut কি হয়? ut হচ্ছে 1 by s, কারেক্ট? ওকে, সো ut into e to the power minus at কি হবে?
1 by s plus a.
Correct. Similarly, e to the power minus at into cos omega t ut into ut কি হবে এক্সপ্রেশনটা? e to the power minus at into cos omega t into ut. What would be the expression?
S by s square plus 4 square.
Okay, it is s plus a by s plus a plus omega square. Correct. So as you can see, what is happening, that in that frequency domain এ just s এর সাথে যে এক্সপোনেনশিয়াল ফাংশনটা দিয়ে আমি টাইম ডোমেনে মাল্টিপ্লিকেশন করছি, সেই এক্সপোনেনশিয়াল ফাংশনটা আমার ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি ডোমেনে কি হচ্ছে? অ্যাড হয়ে যাচ্ছে। ওকে, so this is our shift in frequency domain. Okay, so with this I finish our class today, আর নেক্সট দিন আমরা ল্যাপ্লাস ট্রান্সফর্মের বাকি প্রুফগুলো এক এক করে দেখব এবং করার চেষ্টা করব। আন্ডারস্টুড? আমি যা যা পড়ালাম তোমাদের যে ভ্যালকেনবার্গের ল্যাপ্লাস ট্রান্সফর্ম যে চ্যাপ্টারে সবকিছুই পেয়ে যাবে। ওকে, সবকিছু তোমরা ওখান থেকে পেয়ে যাবে। আর না হলে তোমরা দত্তরায় চৌধুরীতেও খুব সুন্দরভাবে ইজি ইংলিশে it has been given all the subjects that is being taught in your circuit theory classes. Okay, ঠিক আছে, কোনো প্রশ্ন?
Sir, can you please send us the recording and the slides of this class
Okay.
as well as the previous class?
I have sent the slides of the previous class. I have to see if the recording has come. Okay, recording যদি চলে আসে তাহলে আমি পাঠিয়ে দেবো। Okay,
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you then. Thank you for your patience. Next Tuesday class না হলেও হতে পারে, আমি আগে ইনফর্ম করে দেবো। ওকে, আই উইল ইনফর্ম ইউ বাই সানডে। ওকে, নেক্সট উইকে
okay,
আমাদের
sir.
কিছু একটা কাজ আছে, ঠিক আছে? ওকে,
Okay, sir.
থ্যাংক ইউ, থ্যাংক ইউ,
Thank you, sir.